As we head into a new school year, is there anything that we can learn from this little guy on how to make this an amazing year? Let's find out in today's episode of the KOALA Counselor Podcast. Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of the KOALA Counselor Podcast. My name is Charles and I'm a pastoral counselor, clinical mental health counselor in training, husband and girl dad to two amazing daughters. And for the past 17 years, it's been my passion to help folks just like you reduce stress and build success in all your relationships so that you can live an abundant life. So join me right here every Tuesday as we talk about relationships, parenting, anxiety, depression, improving your mental health, and how we can experience a life of awesome possibilities when we choose to live a holistic koala lifestyle. And now this episode is brought to you by me, because it's the first episode and no sponsors yet. So there's that. But let's get started. So question of the day, what can we learn from this little guy to help make this coming school year amazing? Well, first off, we can see in the logo in the shirt here, let me get into the camera, it says Koala Parenting. Now, currently, that's a website that my wife and I started, but it's going to continue and to expand, become a YouTube channel, Koala Parenting Academy. You can see here, let me see if I get this into the Koala Parenting Academy. We're going to have online classes, even a Spanish class. And so look for that in the coming days. But what is this koala thing anyway? Well, koala, yes, it's the cute marsupial from Australia, but it's also a simple acronym that describes our philosophy here. The koala stands for knowledgeable optimism, always lessens anxiety, always elevates achievement. And we'll cover each part of these sections more in future episodes, but here's a quick overview. First off, knowledgeable. It seems kind of simple at first, but let me ask you this. Do you really know yourself? Your spouse, your partner, your kids? You see, the expectations we have of ourselves and others are based on assumptions and our own unmet needs, and sometimes something else. For example, how many of you married somebody with habits you didn't like, but just assumed they would change once you got married? Or worse yet, that you would be able to change them after the honeymoon. And so, how'd that work out for you? Going well, is it? Turned out just like you planned? Or no? Now, side note, there's a great evidence-based proven program that's awesome at helping couples before and during marriage to build super relationships that last. And it's called Prepare and Enrich. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like more information about. Well, we'll get back to our topic. Now, what about this? So you push and push and push your kids to excel at sports, say basketball, but they're not really good at it. But since you were great in high school, they should be, right? Or not? Many times we get frustrated with ourselves or others in our relationships because our expectations are unrealistic. In other words, we have hopes and dreams and expectations that may not be based in reality. And when we do that, we miss these amazing opportunities for which we and our kids have been gifted to excel. So how can we learn more about ourselves and the other folks in our relationships, our spouse, our partner, our kids, even colleagues at work? Well, we'll definitely cover that more in future episodes, but one fascinating thing we can learn is this: how our parenting personality, if you will, compares with our spouses or our partners, and how it interacts with our kids' personalities. For example, if your personality is very decisive and you feel most comfortable with, as we call it, an 80% solution, you just decide, you move forward, you adjust along the way. But your partner is super detail-oriented and needs to know all the facts before moving forward. They need to weigh every option, weigh every decision, and they can't do a thing, can't even decide until they've done so. Well, you might be headed for a little bit of tension in the house. But if you realize that personality, those characteristics about yourself and about your partner, then things will go much better as you make the best use of each other's strengths. And imagine that relationship between you as a parent and your child. Your child's ready to decide to go, but you need more time, you're more deliberate, you need to think things through a bit more. Can also cause some tension, to be sure. So knowledge, we need to know ourselves and know ourselves well so we can take advantage of the strengths that we do have, even in our relationships. So optimism. As we gain more types of knowledge about ourselves, our families, even our coworkers, invariably that's going to lead to realistic expectations and hopefully positive ones, but only if we believe them. Too many of us fall into the yeah but trap. Now what I mean is, we discover something we're good at, something we enjoy, yeah but. Or we learn that our spouse wants to start a woodworking business and they're really good at woodworking, yeah but. Or we see our son or our daughter really getting into cooking or some type of creative endeavor, but they're learning new things, they're spending time studying it, learning new things on, say, YouTube, for example, and they start really doing well, really talented. You notice it. You know, people tell you they're doing amazing things. Yeah, but. Here's the point. When we discover new positive things about a person, including ourselves, we need to live with optimism. In other words, assume that good things are going to come from this discovery and, wait for it, act like it. Not, yeah, but now let's. Expect the best, not the worst, not the least, not even just okay, but the best. There's an old saying, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, if you believe you can't, or you believe you can, well, you're right. And when we build the habit of living with optimism, great things can happen. So knowledgeable optimism, always. Now, I know, it's tricky to suggest that something will always happen. You got many scams, unscrupulous car salesmen, influencers on the web, and they keep trying to tell us that results are guaranteed or that something's a surefire way to find riches and happiness, even a perfect credit score, blah, 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 blah. Well, let me tell you this. If you truly get to know yourself, your abilities, your talents, your preferences, your personality, even your blind spots, and you build a habit of living with optimism, do you really think you can't succeed? You really think good things won't happen? What does living with optimism look like? Well, in his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear describes the benefits of getting just 1% better every single day. And I've linked to a talk that he gave on this 1% better concept down in the description. But imagine how different life would be if we committed to the idea, the habit of getting just 1% more optimistic every day. How much would your life, your relationships be transformed if you were 100% more optimistic every 3 months? That 1% better idea, coincidentally, translates into many different areas, but more on that in a different episode. We'll catch James' talk down below as well. Amazing, amazing stuff. So knowledgeable optimism always lessens anxiety or elevates achievement. Well, here we find two groups of people, but they overlap at times. The first group, you get to know yourself better, you build on daily improvements, you start to make changes in your life and relationships, and so for you, the KOALA lifestyle elevates achievement. But there's a second group. You know about yourself, your relationships, your family, but there are other things going on, other issues. Traumas in your past, bad habits you can't seem to overcome, negative experiences, previous relationship issues, anxiety, depression, phobias, imposter syndrome. Now we all have issues that we're working through, especially over these past 18 months. So while it's good to know who we are, sometimes that knowledge causes anxiety. And this is where lessons anxiety comes in. See, a lot of the time, we don't feel up to the challenge. We recognize what or who is holding us back. And sometimes we just fall prey to the trap of comparing ourselves with others. Let me give you an example. Any homeschooling families out there? Give me a shout out in the comments. Let me speak to my homeschool moms just for a second, particularly the new ones. Say this is your first time, you've heard about things happening at your kid's school, or you had a good experience this past year, kind of trying it out, and so you're feeling like this is the year, you're all in, you're going to homeschool. So it's the start of the new school year coming up. and you're trying to figure out how to decorate that spare bedroom, that family room, or that section of the dining room, whatever the case might be, but you want it to look like a classroom, a place of learning for your kids. And so for ideas, where do you go? Of course, Pinterest. And there you spend the next 28 and a half hours looking at page after page of homeschool classrooms, obviously designed by the Property Brothers or Chip and Joanna Gaines or some other HGTV designer. Yes, I know Chip and Joanna are starting their own network. Work with me here. Anyway, after all that research, otherwise known as 1,758 reasons why there's no way you could ever properly homeschool your kids, you look around your family room and you worry that you're going to deprive your kids of a proper education. Anxiety, anyone? Let's go back to that knowledgeable optimism thing. You already know a few things. Number one, you love your kids. Number two, you're committed to their education, and there are many, many more, like a couple million more folks who are also homeschooling their kids. And if you're a child of the 70s or 80s, you're pretty sure that you can do a good job, at least as good a job as Miss Beadle from Little House on the Prairie. So you can be optimistic, jump right in. Sure, you need to make some changes here and there. Maybe you'll mess up from time to time, but stick with it. And as you keep going, you'll get better and better. Now, there will be some issues that we discuss here on the channel and in this podcast, some questions we dig into that are going to speak to maybe some stress or anxiety you may be experiencing. And that's good. That's why we're here, a place of helping and of sharing. But if you are experiencing distress, overwhelming anxiety, depression, you even find it difficult to function even on a basic level because of stress or issues in your life, then please reach out and connect with a licensed mental health professional in your local area. In fact, in one of our upcoming episodes, we're going to talk about the question, how to know if you need therapy, and discuss how you can get that process started. So alleviating anxiety. Next, hopefully for all of us, we're elevating achievement. Once you've successfully started the process of working on you, on dealing with those issues you feel are holding you back, now it's time to take advantage of those opportunities right there in front of you. Once you know and believe that you can have an amazing marriage, an amazing relationship with your kids, an amazing work life, you can, with some work of course, make all this a possibility, a reality even. Once your child knows what their strengths are, what their gifts are, and that you support them no matter what, and when you expect great things from them, then they will surpass anything you thought was possible. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a straight-A student, an Olympic athlete, or they're going to head to college on a full scholarship. But for you, for your family, for your child, success might mean something totally different. We all get to define it in our own way. And we all get to discover the amazing plan that's been created for us. And that plan is individual and it's personal. It's been written that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And that means that we achieve great things when we expect great things, because we are capable by His grace of great things. Now you can change your family tree, as Dave Ramsey says, when you change how you see yourself and how you see those around you. When you choose to live a koala lifestyle. Knowledgeable optimism always lessens anxiety, and it always elevates achievement. But more on how we do that as we continue our journey together. So friend, if this episode has been a help to you, just like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit that notification bell as well. And if there's a question or a topic that you'd like for us to discuss, just drop me a quick comment or email, and you may see your suggestion on a future episode of the podcast. Until next time, I'm Charles, the KOALA Counselor, wishing you less stress and much success in all your relationships. God bless.